And so they know that they no longer have them. And so yes, I mean, we're not alone. I mean, most schools have been predominantly underfunded forever, especially in the state of Alabama. But, you know, so schools have been forced to sell off their Section 16 lands to survive. You know, we just so happened to find out 3 or 4 years ago that, hey, guess what? We still have ours. We never sold it. And so that, you know, that's where the discovery came from. And then we were basically told that, you can't get that property back. And then that's where the state legislatures came in and fought for basically 2 years to get control. And finally the governor said, yes, you know, this land is rightfully yours, it became yours, and that's where we're at tonight. Mobile County, I know, is the other one.
They've used this property for as long as I can remember.
Sure.
It's not being developed, it's not being rented, they haven't done anything.
Yeah.
It's just said it. The Smith Lake property is not the only Section 16 land we have in the county either. There's some in Chicken Ridge and some in Joppa.
Yeah, 100 acres
That's where
is,
some of the proceeds that came from timber sales off those other properties. And I imagine when the Section 16 land at Smith Lake, as this gentleman pointed out, when that was deeded to, given to us by the state basically 100 years ago, whenever that happened, Smith Lake probably wasn't even named. So, you know, we're just fortunate that when Smith Lake was built, they just happened to back up on some Section 16 that we now, unfortunately, have control of.
yes, sir. Right. Sure.
But they still have to be able to use it. We can't develop it if the road goes through it.
That easement was already granted to the person at the tip. But because that easement was granted, it limits the school board's ability to develop the property they have, because they can't adjust or change that easement to any great extent with the owner of that easement sitting there. Yeah, the tail.
It's over there.
They have to provide that.
Yeah, that's state
They can't
issue.
develop into what they want to, because you cannot landlock people that own 10 acres of property. The very tip, that one little lot, that's where the entrance is.
That's our easement.
That's our easement to get to the Section 16 land. And the same people that own the tip also own that. So, yes.
They own that as well. So the same person.
So now there's absolutely no
The house, the
easement
10 acres,
that we have to
and
do.
the 20 acre, you own all of them.
There's also one small lot.
In that deed, there is 3 tracts, 3 sections. One was the house, one was the easement, and one was just called a subdivision lot.
Well, it would be great if we could, if there could be a better illustration put out, and hopefully we can put something on maybe on our webpage that clearly shows that. And believe me, we have a map that each person likes to work with, because I know that there's going to be plenty of questions that doesn't have working on. So we'll be prepared for that. Bring that out. Like I said, I'm not saying that we did a 100% outstanding job doing this, but we made our errors. However, the intention, obviously, is only, it's solid. We're investing in all 10,000 kids by making sure this process is worth something solid. hate to do a house on change. But it's probably actually gonna cost me something to tear it down. I agree, like I said, the year that I made was not spinning it into a pile. Now, there's still gonna be backlash. Taxing it, there's gonna be backlash. You know, and that's hard. But ultimately, it's fun and said, how lucky we are that we grabbed this land before somebody else did, and then later, couldn't, we had to get $5 million for the land, because, well, we finally got fired for the rest of it, and then we had to deal with it because of this tip of the iceberg. I agree.
Does anybody know how many miles of sewer line we have developed? That can be developed? 7 miles?
I think it's just under 7 miles.
That's, so all of that can be developed.
You can all be developed. Right, we can't. That's what you get into your business model. I can sell, I can lease it, but I can't develop. We can help it.
We can't put money, you can't put money in the building roads.
We are taking bids before July, that's like the sheriff's department has it on what? Sure. The statement that I've made that has pretty much caused, and I made it on purpose, like I said, I'm going to say it like it is, and not hide behind anything. You asked about the school consolidations, the school closings, of course, everybody's school's closing according to the rumors. There is no plan in place to close any school. The only school that's being looked at for closing is Garden City because of the issues at school. And it's not a done deal. That's a board decision that they'll have to make. It'll be discussed at this Thursday's board meeting. But I don't think a board decision is coming until April, is my understanding, on Garden City. Now, the statement that's got everybody riled up is when I say what I said earlier, which is you cannot afford 29, 28, 27 schools unless we change the way that we're doing business. If we don't become more efficient as a school system, or we don't change the tax funding that we currently have, we are a 10 mil system, which means that basically when the state law says that you have to give this much money to schools, we give the absolute bottom dollar that you could possibly give to your schools. That's what we as Cullman County residents do. We're a 10 mil system. It's the absolute bottom. So because of that's what we've invested in our schools, it makes it very difficult to maintain at the current rate of construction and materials and everything else. Everything else has went up. And we haven't been able to keep up with the maintenance of the buildings because of the recession and everything else that hit us. So, you've got schools that are literally falling apart. And like I said, I don't want to, we would love nothing more than to not close any schools, but that would be basically, we're going to have to change the way that we fund schools. And so I'm going to be, that's a tax reform, that's what that is, plain and simple. But the schools only get money through taxes, that's it, that's all we've got. And that's why what makes the Section 16 thing such a blessing is, you seriously could maybe get a windfall from this and actually help support your, because if it's set up in a trust, you're just getting the interest. So that money's never going away. So you may get, let's say, I'm not going to give you an exact figure, but you're going to get X amount every year from that interest that's going to fund your schools without ever raising taxes. But at the same time, we've got to look at how we're doing business and are we as efficient as we possibly can. And some of the things are real easy. We're printing checks and mailing them. Okay, direct deposit's been around a long time, but we, and of course, our UCS still comes in and he's like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to set up, everybody got an email address, we're going to send you a PDF in your email, this is your check, here you go. We're no longer doing it. That's a waste of money. So there's a lot of things like that that we can be doing better. There's a lot of ways that we can become more efficient that really don't affect the child in any way, shape, or form. Because that's the ultimate deal right there. The decision how we affect it. And so that's, we're going to do all of those things first before we do anything. And hopefully in the meantime, as we start to clean up these efficiencies, maybe we will have an honest good life. Right? I can't answer that, but I know that at least now, we could entertain that, where before we couldn't even entertain it. It just was a piece of property that you were and it wasn't really a darn thing. Like I said, you're right, you gotta have a check to pay for it, but you gotta have something to sell too. You can't put your house up for sale if it's in horrible condition, doesn't say forever. There's things you have to do before you can sell it. That's what. Yes, sir.
Well, you talk about, going forward with the school system and everything.
Yes, sir.
Is that a Cullman County specific plan?
Say that again.
Plan?
The strategic plan?
Strategic plan.
Yes, sir.
Is that a Cullman County specific plan?
Absolutely. Made specifically there's 15 people that are involved in writing that plan. Middle school, elementary school, high school principals, other district leaders, career tech education instructor, CSFO, myself. So we had a lot of people that represent basically as many people as you only want to put so many people on there so things get done. It still took about 7 months to write it, but it is specific to our data. When we look at the data that drives us every day, financial data and academic data, that's what, and then, like I said, the survey results, because we had over 2,000 surveys from the community that came in. So getting back to community voice, we had 2,000 surveys that came in. We took those surveys and looked at the top things that the community was looking at. And like I said, also that was the initial reason for these meetings, was to get more feedback on the strategic plan. Because it's a living, breathing document. It's not something where we write it and say, okay, here it is. We're never going to have to change it again. We never have to visit again. We've talked about our goals. Now let's go get it. Like I said, it will be discussed at every board meeting. It's a living, breathing document. If there's a part of it that we don't like, we can change it. As we grow, as we reach some of those goals, we check them off and we create a new one. So it should never go away. You should always have a 5-year goal. You should always be 5 years away from your goals. As you achieve them, you run another one for another 5 years. And you just keep that process going until, and like I said, that's the process that I'm used to as a school administrator. Every school system I've ever been in has had that document as a guiding post for every principal to follow, so that you know where you're driving your ship. Because, the principals that you see over here have to know, okay, what are we doing as a system? It's been said, way too many times that we're a system of schools and not a school system. So another huge goal for me is to bring everybody together as Cullman County schools and move us in one direction. Because right now I've got 7 feeder patterns that are all doing their own thing. And that's not a team. And we could be so much more successful. We can work smarter instead of harder. We can combine resources. Second grade teachers from Good Hope should be talking to second grade teachers from West Point. What are you doing with this standard? How are you getting your kids to understand this? It should be going around and around. We have the technology to do that. That's not going to cost us a dime. It's just about bringing those teams together and showing them that they can do it. I've been blessed in the fact that most of my career has been in very high-performing school systems. So I've seen a lot of this already. I know, I got a very clear vision in my head of where I want this school system to be 5 years from now. It's very, very clear. And I have zero doubt that we can get there. Because the people are here. And that goes back to what I said at the beginning. The people are here. That's all I need. You give me the right people, and we'll lead you to where we need to go. But if you don't have the right people, boy, life gets hard quick. And you have to start tailing your dreams and your goals down to what the people around you are capable of doing. We're full steam ahead because I've got the team. Absolutely got the team. Right on. It's not that I'm impressed you got the half success next test. That's awesome.
We talk about doing
there's a section 16 committee that was formed that was, basically was formed by Billy Cullman when this got this. And because he wanted to put people on there that would advise him on how to make decisions. Again, and he ended up he was a team coach guy, same guy. And so this actually just got out of that reason why I was almost late because of that committee. We just got out of that meeting and discussed exactly that. We've done the clear cut on Sugar Ridge property, roughly 90 acres. So that committee talked about today. Okay, we were planning. What do we want to do with that? Do we want to sell that property? Do we want to replan it and say that 15, 20 years we could maybe get another $200,000 out of it on the timber business side? I know that I think the other said it was 5 or 6 years. It was replanted by the state. One job. 8 years. Okay, 8 years ago, they clear cut it and they were planting. Trees are somewhere between 8 and 10 feet tall, 3 or 4 inches in diameter. So in about roughly 4 or 5 years, you're going to get to a point where you're going to have to manage that land again and do some cleaning up and pull some of those trees and cycle them. And so again, those funds can be created there. There is hunting leases that are available under Section 16. And so we have capitalized on that. And that's where some of that Section 16 money is coming from. I'm saying we have a separate Section 16 account where those funds are put so that when it is, we pay for marketing or we pay for whatever it is that we need to do on that land, that's my pot of money that I'm allowed to use. So that I don't have to use the general fund, which is going to put new carpet in the splash. So that's it. So yes, we capitalize on that as much as we can. Hopefully there'll be more ideas now that we've got all of the property we can get. Some of the surrounding people in the area are really excited about us being out there on that property. If we don't own it, obviously. We have to cross several other people's land to get to our land. That's where those easements and those right-of-way issues become very serious. Especially if we throw a truck out there or bring timber people out there. The Smith Lake property is going to be looked at very soon by a timber company, which we have to clean it up. We have a potential forest fire situation out there that we can get into with a lot of debris. So that has to be cleaned up. So we own the property, so we have to be responsible landowners as well and make the investment. But that'll be paid for by selling some timber on the property. So again, it's not taken away. Where are we at, guys? Is it sometime? Like I said, the strategic plan, number one, thank you. You participated in that survey. It was very strong, very clear voice on some of the things that you want. Expanded curriculum. Character education is very important in Cullman. I've heard that loud and clear. Morals. I love it. It's great. I love being originally from Indiana. I would go back north if I had to. I love the culture of the South. Excited that I was able to raise my 2 kids in the South. Even though I wasn't born and raised in the South, it's been a great thing. Obviously, we will continue to do the leadership skills to our children, teaching them how to adapt to this ever-changing world, giving them more opportunities here, within their school. Those are all things that you hit on that were huge in that survey. It was a very clear voice, very easy to hear what the community wanted. So I appreciate that very much. I appreciate the questions tonight. I hope that you're leaving here feeling like I answered your questions. Again, I welcome the conversation. If I didn't, if you're walking out of here still frustrated, then I hope you and I have a conversation another time. I am getting a little hungry, and so probably need to leave as well. But I'm happy to stick around as long as you'd like and talk to you further if you'd like. But I do appreciate you coming out and taking the time to sit here.